Now what happens, you're not paying it the first forecloses. The second is wiped out. Okay? So that wipes out 100% of the second. Now these guys were getting, when they would sell these loans, they get something which you don't even know about called a loan premium. The loan premium could be, depending on the interest rate, the highest rate of return they got, the better off. So everything's going up based on the loan premium. The costs are there, 4%, say on 100,000, so they get 4,000. Plus your 1% to 2% for your loan origination fee, so they're making $6,000. On these loans, let's say it's $100,000, their face value might even be $94,000 just to start off. But because they sit there and say, hey, we can make so much payments, in 6 months you'll be whole. People like this, you then hold it on to 18 months after that, we'll refinance it. I don't even know all the stories that were told, but, sorry about that. But, what happened was, they were making money by selling them, by creating them, by packaging them, and sending off bad assets. And no one knew what these loan brokers were telling the different Wall Street people who then packaged them up and sold it to those people like in Norway, things like that, little towns, Alaska, permanent fund people. Lehman Brothers, we lost $6.5 million. Oh, well, that's nothing. I mean, that's just the way life is. We lose it. You lose it, you lose it. But now, so then the 60%, 80%. Now, so these people, the first, which let's say Countrywide in this case, because I know this specifically, would go and have this one at the beginning, Countrywide, the second, because they created it, then they would sell it. So they're no longer in it. So they go and then protect themselves by this 80% first. The bottom line is, they don't know the bottom line, because let's say these things, and you've heard as much as of these types of loan, say 55% are in default. They just don't default on this, they default on the whole thing. Because there's no mechanism to pay. If you just pay this one, these will foreclose on you. If you just pay this one, these will foreclose on you. You've got to pay them both. And when this one ratcheted up, you could no longer afford to be in your house. Now, if they're going down, all these packages are being wiped off, let's say, right off the bat. If 55% are in that way, that just wipes this whole thing out on 50%, 5% of the loan. Now, let's say we're in a market which is down 40%. Well, the first 20s gets wiped out, so that's no big deal to the second, but he's now worried about the 20% going into his, which then takes it down to around 60%, let's say. And I don't care about these numbers that much as the concept. When you go and set up a system with these two types of legal apparatuses that are working against each other, that can be individually packaged, that is the problem. You had people that said, I'm going to make your down payment for you, and I'm being a good guy, when in reality, these people this was the highest rate of return. And it worked fine. There was a reason that this worked fine for a while. Since 2000, or even before, I don't know the year, we had different years for tax laws. Reagan had his, which I will say Reagan's tax cuts knocked out deductions, changed a lot of things, and it caused the S&L crisis. These tax cuts that are on now give you tax-free if you live in a house for 2 years. All right, that's income. Then, so all of a sudden, you lower the loan rate 1%. When you lower the loan rate 1%, that's an instant boost in equity of around 10%. And it changes, of course, but that's pretty much how just kind of equals. 10% rise, you lower it. So these things were going up. People were getting their money. Every 2 years, tax-free. Now, who would be paying the taxes on this? And why the government may not have cared that much? The people that got the loan fees, and the people that got I don't know what happened on these spreads, but if you looked at it, then people get 28% gain. They've got calculated things, but it can't keep going up forever, because the underlying economy of everything is how many people are working and how much they're making versus how much money's in the bank, who has it, because these people don't need loans, they loan money to these people. If any one of these people wipe out of the system, guess what? We don't have a system, because that's the way our system's set up. Now, one reason it's done this way is because of old people like me. Us old people, we're going around going and saying, oh man, this market is hot, so we sell our house. And up to $500,000 is tax-free. Okay? That's most Americans in this economy. So, that's what happened. They then get a retirement nest egg. Dollars for their retirement. That's how they make retirement. They go buy a cheaper house, no payment. They're over 65, no real estate taxes up here. So you get pretty much the only thing that they have to pay for is insurance. And they have now, let's say they bought a $250,000 house in there from their $500,000. This is the best case scenario. $250,000, well no, you could have $1 million house and pay billions. You could pay a lot more in taxes and you'd be fine. But anyhow, this late, you got your $250,000 in a house. It's free and clear. You pay your insurance only because there's no real estate taxes. Alright, so now you live on that for the rest of your life. Now, here's the problem with that. The system may not be able to afford that. So the younger generation is saddled with all this debt. But they can't control it. So the government comes along, puts the money in, which they just print money, which causes the value of the dollar go down. So now this $250,000 that was in the bank, and let's say these people were going to retire and drive around the country on $1 of gallon gas. Now they're stuck at $4 gallon gas. Their food is up, everything. The purchasing power of this. Now, their problem is, well, the amount of money which I thought I would have had, is it going to last long enough? Oh, so anyhow, go back to all that, why this happened, government's doing all this. Hold on here, buddy. Want this to fall? Well, I'll get it back afterwards. Okay, so, ironically, get a big thing here. Here's the government, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans. They have bought all these, and if half of them are failing, that wiped them out. And now they're wiped out to the tune where they owe other people, and so it just grows through the economy. This wiping out this amount, if this was $5 trillion, 20% wiped out is $1 trillion. You could probably put a direct correlation into all of this into that figure. But are they telling you that? No, because they'll get embroiled in details and things like that, and they won't come up here. So, anyhow, just thought I'd point that out. Can't get this thing up here. But that's about all I'm going to say about that. And that's the way it is up here in Alaska on September 20th, 2008.